What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Blockchain channel. It's been a little while since I've done any videos. Went on vacation for a little while, but I'm back, and a lot has happened since then. The market went through the roof, and then had a bit of a crash. So the same question that's come up for the past year, pretty much, at least the past 6 months or 9 months or so, continues to come up, and that question is: are we in a bubble? And so I've thought about doing a video on this topic for a while now, and it seems like now is the time to do it. So my answer to that question is almost certainly yes, we are in a bubble. However, I'm not really sure how useful that is on its own. I mean, just a part of free market economics is the cycle of boom and bust in the market cycle. And as long as you don't have government interference in that, then bubbles will form and pop, and the free market will do its thing. But just to look at past bubbles, for example, if you look here at the Qualcomm chart, what this tells me here is just that we can be right about in our thesis about the technology and about the revolutionary nature of this, and still be wrong from a financial standpoint. And that's really the reason I put this Qualcomm chart up here. In 1999, people thought Qualcomm was going to do amazing things with their chips, and they would be part of the future. And people that were investing back then, I don't think they even understood really what the magnitude would be of what Qualcomm would be used for in terms of smartphones and connected devices and things like that. But they were right on their thesis with regard to the technology and the importance of it. Unfortunately, Qualcomm is still not worth what it was worth at the end of 1999. And we're 17 years later. So that's the caveat here. We could be right about what's going on with this technology. We could be right that this is the next level of the internet, or whatever it is that is your thesis, and still be wrong, still not make money, still lose money if you get in at the wrong time. So that's really the real question here. Where are we in the market cycle? Not, is this a bubble? It almost certainly is a bubble. But how big is this bubble? That's the real question that we need to ask ourselves if we're investing. So the other question is, did it already burst? Did we already see the top? Was Bitcoin 19,000 the top? If you look at market cycle charts, there are people that could definitely make that argument that we are in sort of the denial phase of the cycle, and we're just getting small bursts up, but we're going to be in a continuous downtrend for a while, and that's a possibility. Maybe the bubble already did burst, but probably not. That's my take on it as of today, and that could change at any point. It could change tomorrow. Could change at any time after I post this video. The situation with this market is very fluid. But for today, I don't think we've seen the top, and here's why. Despite all of the hype on TV and all of the huge returns people have made, only a small fraction of the world is actually owning any crypto asset at all. And people say things like, "Oh, but my cab driver is talking about crypto." That's got to be the top. Everybody's talking about crypto. The people that aren't the brightest people in the world are investing in crypto and creating portfolios and things like that. And that is true. That's traditionally a sign of a market top. When the everyday person starts investing in the market, and normally that is a sign that we're near the end. But my take on that is that this is possibly not a traditional market cycle. It might be something revolutionary. And why I think that is because the earliest adopters in this market were, techies and hobbyists and futurists and libertarians, people who were not necessarily in it for the money. And the next wave was traders and people that are interested in volatility and taking advantage of all the volatility in this market to make money. But they're very forward-thinking individuals who are not trading millions of dollars generally. They're trading tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars eventually. But there just hasn't been the liquidity for major traders to get involved. And now we're getting this wave of everyday people investing. And the thing of it is that this ecosystem was created for the everyman. It was created to decentralize power in finance. And so by definition, institutions who are traditionally the first people in, venture capitalists and large financial institutions like banking institutions that are underwriting IPOs, they're the ones that are first in. They're the ones that are normally making these huge returns on what are generally riskier investments. But that has not been the case ever before until cryptocurrencies and crypto assets and ICOs became a thing. And so these institutions that are normally the first in this market, they're last in. Most institutional money hasn't even touched this market yet. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of fear. There's fear because this actually takes power away from those traditional institutions. There's misunderstanding. They don't understand the technology. They don't understand how to protect the assets. They don't understand how to use a wallet. They don't. There's a huge learning curve, and it's an underdeveloped market. There just isn't a lot there for them to. There just isn't the liquidity necessary for these massive institutions to get involved. It's a slow process, but we're getting to that point. And so, basically, hedge funds alone manage over $3 trillion in assets, and pension funds manage $36 trillion in assets. So if we're just talking about, a traditional market cycle, the people that get in on the ground floor of these market cycles aren't in yet at all. And so if we're in a bubble, it seems to me that we would need traditional financial institutions to get involved before we got to that point. And that might not be true, but the way I look at it is that if these players get involved, we have a lot further to go. So how much further can we run before this bubble pops? It really depends. It depends on what your thesis is for Bitcoin or for crypto assets. If you think Bitcoin is a store of value and it's going to be the next gold, well, the gold market is worth about $8 trillion. If you think that that crypto assets maybe the new equity, maybe the new IPOs, maybe ICOs will replace IPOs to a great extent. If that's the case, and we're comparing this to the NASDAQ in 1999, the dot-com bubble reached $9 trillion. And right now, the total cryptocurrency market is around 500 billion. So there's a long way to go if that's your comparison. Also, the global stock markets are worth $73 trillion. If you think this totally replaces stocks and that we're having a paradigm shift that allows greater market participation by regular people, 73 trillion might be what you're looking at as a target final number here for the crypto assets. And if you think that then there's physical and non-physical money, and that is worth about $90 trillion globally. If you think that potentially we're seeing the development of a universal decentralized currency, then that $90 trillion might be the number that you're looking at as where we can go. There's a lot of issues with the possibility of creating a universal decentralized currency. there's a lot of hurdles to that in terms of, basically removing almost all power of governments, of central government. One of the things that they really use to maintain power and control is the money supply, like the Federal Reserve or the People's Bank of China. These are institutions that are integral to government maintaining control of the people. So whether or not a decentralized currency becomes widespread is really up to us. It's not going to be, and it has to happen faster than governments can adapt. It has to basically be it has to get to a point where we can't go back before it gets overregulated, and that's a possibility. I wouldn't hold my breath for it. It's a nice dream. It's a nice thought. I don't know that that's going to be the case, but if that's what you think, then you're talking about potentially a $90 trillion market for Bitcoin and the like, or whatever might replace it. I know that's a horrible thing to say. It's obviously a possibility, but Bitcoin or whatever else might be used as a cryptocurrency. And then the people that detract from that thesis of, what about it? How can we possibly have a universal decentralized currency? That would be a massive wealth transfer. Well, we've had massive wealth transfers in the past. That happens anytime that people invent new things. It happened in the Industrial Revolution. It happened in the tech bubble. We had massive wealth transfer to people who were inventing things, and that's what this is. It's an invention, and the people who invested early are the ones that make the majority of the money, and that's how you get these massive wealth transfers. It's not something that has not happened in the past. History shows this is certainly a possibility. But only a few people have any Bitcoin. How are we going to only have a few millionaires, a few billionaires? I don't think that's the way it's going to work. If we're going to have adoption on a mass scale, people are going to spend it. It's going to have to be spent, and we're not to that point yet. But also, there will be a point in Bitcoin's growth where it reaches an equilibrium, and at some, we've never seen this before. We've never seen a global currency created out of thin air and put out into an open market and just have this currency determine what the value is. That's never happened in history. And so it's possible that we're seeing something happen that we've never seen before. There may be no comparison here. If there's no comparison for that phenomenon, then maybe we're not in a bubble. That's the only thesis I can come up with for not being in a bubble is this is a total revolution. We don't know what is going to happen. And while it seems totally far-fetched that Bitcoin could be worth $1 million today, that's only $1 per Satoshi, right? So Bitcoin is extremely divisible, and so not everyone will have to own a Bitcoin. Some people own 50,000 Satoshis or 100,000 Satoshis or whatever it is that is your net worth, your liquid worth, and so while there would be a limited supply of it, I do believe that it would get distributed eventually. This is just a process that would take place as people take profits and as people diversify their investments. It's just part of intelligent investing, and I do think that it would get diversified out eventually. And then if you think that we're talking about replacing potentially all stocks and bonds with tokenization of assets, which is somewhat it's a pie in the sky thought, but it's a possibility. Then you're talking about all the global stock markets and all the global debt, and then you're talking about nearly $300 trillion in potential market cap for crypto assets. So, are we in a bubble? I think we most likely are. I'm not necessarily sure that we're going to see $1 million Bitcoin or that the world is going to adopt it before it gets regulated to a point that's not possible. That may happen. I hope it does. But I don't think the bubble has popped yet. And that's not just wishful thinking. That's, you know, everything that I've pointed to here today. I think shows that we're not quite there yet. Either way, none of this should be construed as financial advice. This is merely speculation and you know, hypotheticals for your entertainment and my entertainment. And I do appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we will be posting a lot more videos in the coming days and weeks. This channel will be a lot busier. So thank you for watching, and if you liked liked what you heard, or you got something out of it, or it piqued your thought process, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we will have a lot more videos coming out, and also share it with your friends. Anyway, this is the BlockGen channel, and thank you for watching.